It's Monday, and you know what that means. It's IndyCar night on iRacing. Hello again, everyone. I am Gary Gonson, and welcome to Race First coverage of Championship Monday of Season 3 of 2022 of the 4D RACEWEAR Monday Night Indy Fix Top Split, coming to you from the Kansas Speedway. As always, joining me in the booth for expert analysis from the NHR Esports team in the Lionheart IndyCar Series, presented by Butt Kicker, it's Steven Larkamp. So, Steven, we got three drivers in the hunt tonight. Adriano Pinero, Mark Murphy, and lurking is Pablo Diaz-Francis. Put yourself in each one of our Championship 3 driver shoes. What do you have to do to pull off a season championship tonight?
Well, the main thing I'm seeing throughout this week will be not just the one race that matters, but multiple of them. Adriano Pinero is the driver with the most to lose in this instance. He has a massive points lead gained last week at Texas over Mark Murphy. And Murphy and PDF are very much in the struggle tonight. They're going to have to claw their way up, not just in this race here tonight, but in multiple high-strength of field races. They're going to have to make up a lot of effort this week if they're going to catch up to Pinero. It's going to be it could be, well, a big ask for them, but stranger things have certainly happened. And as Adriano Pinero is now setting off on his qualifying run, that week of that Champions Week, not just the Champions Monday, that is well and truly beginning now. PDF already up to the top of the board, but the championship probably won't be entirely decided here tonight. Even though Pinero does have a big lead, there's a lot that can be gained and lost over the course of the week, and that's why I think a lot of these drivers they're counting every single bullet they have in their gun to make a bid at this championship, and they'll be trying to make themselves the perfect marksman both tonight and throughout this week.
The term that we'll use tonight kind of fits golf. It's kind of leader in the clubhouse type thing, as these drivers will have all week to better their numbers and to gain as many points as possible. A special thanks to 4D RACEWEAR as a season-long partner for the Monday Night Indy Fix Top Split. 4D RACEWEAR, the makers of ultimate gear and apparel designed specifically for sim racing. You can check them out today at 4dracewear.com or click on the link in today's stream description. And if you use this coupon code, which I'll bring right up on the screen right here, and we'll give you 10% off your next purchase at 4D RACEWEAR. Unfortunately, 4D is not returning for next season, but we want to thank them for their season-long support of the Monday Night Indy Fix Top Split. MNF 10 Kansas. MNF 10 Kansas will get you 10% off your next purchase there at 4D RACEWEAR.
And keeping an eye on Adriano Pinero as he's coming through turns 3 and 4 to end this qualifying run. PDF at the top of the board with a 25.018. Goes down all the way onto the apron. A 0.38 for Pinero. 2/100ths of a second down on the pole sitter. And now that sees him into position number 3 along behind Adriano for Porty. So as it stands right now, it's not going to be to Pinero's normal strategy of start on the pole and play defense. That is not going to be playing out in his favor, as Rodrigo Franzoni with a very fast run right at the end. He jumps up to the board really quick time, the only driver in the 25s. And as qualifying comes to an end, it'll be 75 laps of racing here tonight. It's gonna be the start of a very grueling championship hunt throughout this week, I think. I think we're gonna be in for a great first round of it.
Trying to get people all gridded up. Everyone's kind of taking their time gridding up here. Hey, the track records you need to know here at Kansas. The qualifying track record here is held by Thomas Scheckter, set in 2002 with a speed of 218.547. That still holds today, and the fact that they were faster than that in qualifying today. So, and a theoretical virtual track record was set. And the career IndyCar wins leader here at Kansas. There's only two. They're both tied with 2 wins each. Dan Weldon and Scott Dixon each have 2. In fact, Dan won 2 in a row, and then Scott won 2 in a row to close out IndyCar's time there at the track. Don't know when IndyCar will return here. Probably no time anytime soon, but at least it's not being bulldozed like Chicagoland. So stand by in the garage area. It is time to go racing. And with that, let's take a look at tonight's starting lineup from Kansas.
And on the pole, Rodrigo Franzoni's number 13. A very fast qualifier, almost every track he's on, he gets it on the pole. The only driver to turn a lap under 25 seconds. Alongside him will be number 2 of Pablo Diaz-Francis, one of the key protagonists in the championship hunt. Row number 2 will be Adriano Forporti's number 5, one of his best qualifying efforts we've seen here on Monday nights. Alongside him, the championship leader, Adriano Pinero. Keep a close eye on him and how he does tonight. Row 3 will be Justin Miller in the number 21, and alongside him will be the 7 of Alexandre Rigon. The 3rd of our championship rivals, Mark Murphy, will start 7th in the number 3. Alongside him, Rafael David in the number 18. And then row 5, Nacho LaRosa's number 9. And alongside him, the boss man, Matt Houston in the number 15. Row 6 will be Tyler Russell and Eric Troiano, the number 12 and 22. Sean Dunham and Thomas Geisler make up row 7. Row number 8 will be Matthew Mercer and Trace Shadid, numbers 14 and number 16 and 4. Row 9, Brian Spots and Stephen Lee. Let's see what they can do from back there. Same can be said for Shadid and Mercer. Row number 10 will be Elliot Huffman in the number 6 and Alan Morea in the number 20. Cesar Cabral, a very long row for him to go from 21st. Alongside him will be Frank Irwin Jr. And shotgun on the field, the number 8 of Logan Powers. And as we're getting ready to come through turns 3 and 4, we're already eager to get this race going and start this championship battle. Waiting on the pace car to peel off, Franzoni has the field in his hands. Waiting for his moment, gets on the throttle, green flag flies, PDF tucks in behind him, but his Franzoni away, ahead of PDF, and now he's got Adriano Forporti all over his gearbox as they head to turn 1. Pinero getting passed on the low side by the 13 of Miller, side by side off of 2 still. Forporti tucking in behind PDF, and they're catching back up to Franzoni, of course. Franzoni leads the gap, PDF touches it, Franzoni's in the wall! The pole setter's at the wall on lap 1! Unbelievable! Even more unbelievable, I'm not seeing a caution out yet.
Pinero into the wall. Pinero into the wall.
Pinero is in it as well! Unbelievable! Pinero gets it down on the pit road. That car, though, is destroyed. But our pole sitter, Rodrigo Franzoni, is out of the race. He's got down the pit road. No caution, remarkably. But all that gives the man who initiated that incident, PDF, the race lead.
And the as you see, PDF using the apron. The apron is in bounds. And now the championship picture is entirely different.
That just blew the door wide open already. I can admit right now, both PDF, probably a bit less so for PDF because I'm sure he didn't want to wreck Pinero after that one, but especially Mark Murphy, they saw that as the door being flown wide open in this championship hunt.
Let's go back in time a little bit. Let's watch here from Pinero's point of view down the backstretch.
They headed into 3, and it looked, and
oh, and it was a huge bolt of netcode that caught Pinero as he actually cleared Franzoni, but it sent him into the wall, and that is netcode bad luck.
The silent killer has claimed the championship leader. Unbelievable stuff. But it's now PDF. Pablo Diaz-Francis leading the way. Justin Miller now slotting himself into P2. A very good start for that number 21 machine. And right behind him, Adriano Forporti and Mark Murphy, another championship contender, racing against the guy who we know has a tendency to be a bit of an aggressive racer. Ooh, Mark Murphy with a big blink there.
And I think Murphy sees blood in the water right now, and I think he really wants to get up there and capitalize on that his chief rival out, and he needs to keep Pablo Diaz-Francis in his sights, because Pablo Diaz-Francis PDF is riding not too far in the distance behind Mark Murphy in the standings. Let's bring those up on the screen really quick here. You see them right now. Pinero had a big end of the week to bolster his lead up to 21-27 over Murphy's 16-51. Now Murphy only competes in a couple races races per week. So this is his big race and the big chance right here. Pablo Diaz-Francis also is a big racer during the week. He's at 15:39, so he is lurking there. But right now, Murphy needs a good finish in this particular race, and he is getting challenged big time by Ragon.
Yeah, Murphy tried to stick it to the inside of Fraporti going into turn 1, cost him a lot of momentum, and that's bringing the 7 of Alexandre Ragon into the picture. But Murphy, he's really gonna have to play it smart, but also play it aggressive here against Fraporti particularly. We all know Fraporti is a really dogged racer. He is not one to give up a position if at all possible. As Murphy now looks at the low side once again into 3, not quite enough to get up alongside. But Fraporti is now side by side with Miller for P2. Fraporti does lead him over the line. Will he hold the momentum into 1? And he does so, I think, and then no, here comes Miller shooting around the outside. That higher banking in the middle of the turn up on the high side of the track, that really played to Miller's advantage, and that's something all these guys got to think about. It's not just one line fits all here.
Yeah, Miller has been planted in the Larson line all race long up there in that third lane, and Pablo Diaz-Francis continuing to use the apron. I gotta contend though. I don't really see the advantage of Pablo Diaz-Francis using that apron as the race goes on, because he's really not pulling away from these guys.
Indeed, and my main thing there is that, yes, it plays a good defensive line there, but it's a bit early to be playing major defense right now, especially when you are the race leader, and you can dictate what your guys are forced to deal with in more subtle ways than that.
Here comes Mark Murphy. Sorry, he's underneath Justin Miller looking for P2.
Murphy did get around for Porty. Very well done to him, and now he's got Justin Miller in his sights. The gap between Miller and Francis holding steady at around 0.4 of a second. As we mentioned before, PDF is not breaking away from this, but this top 5 battle, they've gotten themselves away from Nacho La Rosa in P6. They've got over a second gap behind them, so these guys have got it all to themselves at the moment as we're working lap 13.
Now we're gone. Looks to the inside of Fraporti going in the 3.
Still side by side between the two. Ragon trying to make up for the problems that his teammate Adriano Pinero had, but not quite enough. Fraporti holds the momentum around the outside, and now Ragon's going to try the top side this time. And here he comes. Here comes that momentum up on the high line there. A little bit of a squeeze, but Ragon is going to stick it side by side into 3.
Justin Miller has caught Pablo Diaz-Francis and now is beginning the attack. He has stayed glued to that high side, but now he's dipping beneath that white line on the apron to slowly reel in PDF, and here he goes, looking high side.
Miller looking up top. He's been using it to good effect so far. Not quite enough there. PDF still holding that low line there. Pablo trying to force him up high there. It looked like they're trying to play some defense. But Miller, not quite enough there. Both of them going way down onto the apron. Down the start-finish straight. Miller looking to the high side this time. Not quite enough there yet. PDF trying to hold that bottom line, trying to hold the IRL line around here. But I can imagine as this race goes on, Pablo's tires are not going to be playing that well later on in this race, especially with the noon start time we have here. This track is only going to get hotter and hotter as this race goes on. It's already up to 111.
Yeah, it's going to allow for a little bit of pack racing and not much. Right now, Justin Miller taking the longer way, but the less abusive way on the tires way around the track, up high, and it is keeping his momentum up. And it is allowing him to keep PDF right there smack in front of him.
Not quite enough to hold it along there in 3 and 4. But I'm looking also at Mark Murphy. He seems to be following them down onto the apron as well. He knows he has to pick up as many spots as he can to battle Pinero and Francis for the title. And Miller once again gets his nose to the outside into turn 3. Not quite enough though. He's going to have to play this exceptionally well to hold on to that line and get the pass done for the time being, I think. PDF, for the moment, has the better defensive run down the low side, but I would bet as the time is going on and these tires wear down, they are going to have to resort to higher lines to minimize the wear on the tires, and Miller got a better run that time. Not quite enough, I don't think. And now, as we mentioned before, the top 5 broke away from everyone else. Now the top 3 are breaking away from 4th and 5th. They got themselves their own little pack here. It's not enough that they've broken away of the draft entirely, but they are giving themselves some breathing space to do their own battle on their terms. As we're working lap number 20, we're getting closer and closer to the pit stop window opening.
Showing Matthew Mercer on pit road. Not sure if that is a planned stop or a stop for damage. As a stop for, looks like he's down and off the jack, so that might be a planned stop, but it's very slow. Back up to the action at hand. Pablo Diaz-Francis is your leader over Justin Miller.
Looking at Mercer, it looks like he's actually out of the car, so things not going the way for Matthew Mercer here tonight. Not sure what happened, but that seems to be night over for the 16 machine.
Ragon is now in this battle as well.
Yeah, they didn't entirely shake him. Ragon now closing up to the back of Mark Murphy for 3rd.
Pit window is getting ready to open here very, very shortly. We've gone through this race that quick already.
Just amazing pace they're going right now, working lap 23. No caution, though some might argue that first wreck should have been a caution, but beggars can't be choosers in many a case. Miller closing back up once more on PDF. And once again, we seem to be breaking into little duos here right now. Miller and Francis have got themselves about a half second over Murphy, and Ragon now once again closing up to the back of Murphy again. They seem to be getting themselves into little dual tandems here, but not quite enough that they're going to be breaking away.
And I see what Miller's doing, and I think he has to do this because I think PDF has all of these angles pretty much covered right now. You got to really force her in there.
You really got to be forceful in a situation like this if you want to make this pass work. Justin Miller, he's been trying to work that high side this whole time, but PDF's tires are still holding strong at the moment. And Miller, I think the way he sees it, he's going to have to be hyper aggressive down on the low line and force that door open, force Francis into an error, and put him in a position where it's either you give up the spot or you wreck the car. Here comes Miller once again, looking to the outside to 3, not quite enough.
If you're sorry about that, if you're just joining us, race first coverage.
Caution's out.
Caution is out. Let's see, Nacho LaRosa.
Nacho LaRosa in trouble. LaRosa wrecked to the
and we
inside.
got multiple cars involved in this wreck.
Indeed, there is, and there was contact with, I believe that's trying to see who that was. That was the number 8 of Logan Powers he got into down the back straightaway that tipped off this incident. Powers.
Tyler Russell involved in that one as well. And Frank Irwin Jr., no. Alan Morera, I think. There's an all-black car. I'm not sure who it is.
Wouldn't be Morera. I'm seeing black and red on his number 20, unless my trading paints is failing me. But now, perfect time to come in for stops. Pretty much everybody in the front of the field is coming on the pit road right now.
Logan Power had let's take a look here at Logan Power really quick as he was involved in this. Let's take a look from his point of view from the in-car, see what happens. But it looks like Nacho just kind of came up on him.
Indeed. It looked like LaRosa was having trouble. He was trying to catch up and trying to catch the car from going right up into the car next to him.
Wow, and Nacho just kind of rolls right up into him. I mean, I don't think there's any reason for that. He just rolls right up into him.
Just completely misjudged the situation there, I think, and that will put him out of the race. And I see also Tyler Russell's car on pit road and Logan Powers on pit road as well. and he is down and away after effecting his repairs. So it seems like Powers did get the wall in turn 3 on that incident.
He did, and he cut across the apron into the grass, back up the banking, kissed the wall. He is still rolling. He might have some. Let's take a look at his car as it is now rolling. Let's take a look at the in-car. Well, he seems to be tracking straight, although I can't imagine he's too excited about hitting turn 1 at speed to find out what is going to possibly happen to this car once the weight shifts and downforce has to take over.
It's never a fun feeling to contemplate. You don't know how your car is going to behave when you go into turn 1 with a damaged race car, especially in these Indy cars that they're incredibly sensitive to damage, especially nowadays with the damage model update we've seen in a recent patch. But that's one thing that, unfortunately for Logan Powers, he's now going to have to factor in. Unfortunately for him, though, he's at the back of the field, so at the very least, he'll be able to contemplate it without the thought of taking out the guy behind you in the process if things were really worse than you thought.
I'm still kind of puzzled as to what LaRosa was trying to do. He was trying to get back up into the draft behind Frank Irwin Jr., but man, if his spotter said that he was clear, he was not clear by very much. So that brings out our first, should be our second caution of the day, but it is our first caution. If you're just joining us, the championship has taken a drastic turn already with Adriano Pinero starting third, now making it through the first lap. He is our current points leader in the Division I championship. He is now classified in 23rd position, and his chief rival, Mark Murphy, currently P3 in this race, and he is one of the 2 championship 3 that have a shot at this Division I championship. And the other one is your leader, Pablo Diaz-Francis, is pretty much led from the get-go, who has pretty much been guarding the low line, even as far as going down and using the apron on the front straight, but Justin Miller has given him a run for his money. Before we get going too far, once again, if you're just joining us, this is Race First coverage of the 4D RACEWEAR Monday Night IndyFix Top Split, coming to you from Kansas Speedway. It is Championship Monday, where we've completed just 30 of a scheduled 75 laps, so everyone is just pitted, is good to go to the end. If you're enjoying Race First coverage of tonight's race and would like to monetarily support our commentary team, this is your last chance to do it for this season, so make sure you donate via our GoFundMe link in the description. So for your convenience, you don't lose out on any track or any calling of any of our action on the track. You can donate right now and still listen to our call of the race. All you have to do is right click on the link in the description, go to GoFundMe page in another tab, and make your donation. When you're done submitting with your donation, close your tab. Hey, I'm learning how to talk again, folks, and you'll be right back here with us. It's just that easy. But your donations is what keeps us going every week, and we really would appreciate anything that you might be able to give to add to our fund. The good news is we will be returning next season, but we're going green right now. We'll talk about next season here real shortly. Green flag.
PDF gets a great launch there. Kind of took an odd entry there coming out of turn number 4, but he will lead the way ahead of Miller, Murphy, Raikkonen for Porty. And of course, we don't have that little 5-car breakaway anymore. Elliott Huffman in P6. He's leading the train of the guys that want to run down this top 5, as now Miller looks to the outside of PDF for the lead. Still side by side, Miller trying to stick it to the outside there. Francis, of course, way down the apron, comes back up. And that's the line I think PDF is going to want to stick with as much as humanly possible. Miller,
I tell you what, if Miller wanted to play a little dirty, he could pin PDF down there and not allow him to come back up.
That could very well be true, but I would think that if you are going to do that, it would probably be later on in the race.
Right.
Because we're still not quite halfway through this thing. Miller, there's a lot of opportunities to make it work on work in a manner that probably isn't quite as forceful, though it would probably still have to be forceful to make it work in the first place. But Miller's got a lot of options, and that one will ultimately be one of them if it comes down to it, I think.
Yeah, there's no rule that says that you got to lift the car up beneath you. Now, if I have to guess, it's probably going to result in a wreck, knowing one of the two drivers. And I know Justin pretty well, and Justin's not the type that's going to wreck you. I think Pablo will probably take it to the absolute limit, and we'll probably see a wreck there. But there is no rule that says I have to lift that driver up.
Yeah, and there's really no way to enforce that sort of thing, especially when the apron by your own design of the track is fair game. Here comes Miller again, looking to the high side. PDF covering that low line very well, especially right now on the fresh rubber. But Justin is really going to have to be forceful on this one to force PDF to not run the line that he wants to.
Taking a look back in the field, Pablo Diaz-Francis your leader, Justin Miller P2. Mark Murphy in a battle there with Andre Ragon and P4 and 3 and 4, excuse me. And right behind them is Fraporti, Elliott Huffman, and Sean Dunham. Actually, two newest to this battle is Huffman and Dunham, as they are starting to run down this lead pack. Also in this pack of guys trying to run them down, Troiano and Matt Houston.
And I will note a very, very good start for Elliott Huffman in this race. He started down in P19th. He's already worked his way up to 6th in the first half of this race. Elliott Huffman's number 6 is certainly on the move, and it looks like he may well be going for another one as he's starting to close up the Fraporti for 5th. Huffman to the low side into turn 1 and move him up to P5 now for the moment.
Very good run.
Can Fraporti get back by him, though, off of 2? Fraporti does have the run. He'll look to the inside in the 3. Huffman up on the high line there, running way up there. Up on the Kyle Larson line.
Yeah, but I think he has a draft, whether he has a draft partner or not, has a draft aide there from Ragon, who's also running 2 wide of Mark Murphy just in front of them. So he's going to be able to ride in that draft and able to pull him right along. Looks like Ragon got the pass on Murphy and didn't really wait very much to get cleared. He just cut right down.
Ragon moving up a spot there. I don't think Murphy's going to be taking that line down, though. He needs every position he can get in this championship battle with the now wrecked out Adriano Pinero. Still battling side by side with his teammate, though. That's going to be, I can imagine right now that Ragon knows that Murphy is the closest driver to him in points, and he's going to be putting up a fight to hold on to this top 3.
Seen a little puff of smoke in around the turn 3 area. Might have been something with Stephen Lee, who is now, looks like in the garage area or at the back of the pack. Yeah, in the garage area, the back of the pack. So he must have had an issue. Looking at the top 10, Brian Spots just works his way into the top 10 around Trace Shadid, who is Mark Murphy's teammate. Trace actually is in P4 in the championship with 0 wins. That's it's just a load of consistency there. You do not have to get wins in order to win this championship. It helps.
You technically don't have to get them in the NASCAR playoff format, as we actually saw with the Truck Series a couple of years ago with Matt Crafton. So not every championship in racing is suspect to a guy who doesn't win, but is just remarkably consistent and makes a good run at the championship, even if they're not getting themselves in the victory lane. They're just quietly and methodically making stuff work and getting themselves solid results. That's exactly what Trace Shadid's been doing in support of his teammate, Mark Murphy, all season.
And, of course, it's not unprecedented in IndyCar history. The USAC National Championship, 1978. Tom Sneva won the national championship for Team Penske and didn't win a single race.
Indeed, and you can even point to the NASCAR Cup Series with the playoff format. Almost happened. Ryan Newman almost won the title in 2014 with no wins. Almost, that is. He made it into the 4, but lost out to Kevin Harvick in the end. But it's still showing that even consistency can still help your cause, even in a championship that's designed against consistency in many ways. My personal rant over, but Matt Houston now getting around Adriano Fraporti, moving himself up to P8. Fraporti really seemed to be struggling right now to hold on to positions as he's fallen from 3rd on the grid down to 9th.
I don't know if maybe he kissed the wall a little bit, but I don't think there's very many drivers on the grid that are willing to work with Fraporti just based upon reputation, kinda. I mean, remember, it's a small community. Memories run long, and people will work with you if you're a good racer. But if you're an aggressive racer and you cause a lot of, let's say, incidents or heartbreak, people won't work with you.
Yep, you become you gain yourself reputation the longer you're in, and the more you know everybody else here. And getting to know a lot of the faces in these races over the past few years myself, I can safely say that I've made my list.
I know who I want to race with.
Yeah, who I can race with and who I can. I've been wiser to take it easy around. But Miller. If it seems like we're avoiding the lead battle right now, not much has entirely changed. The ebb and flow of it seems to have been pretty consistent. PDF still holding that bottom line over Justin Miller. Both of them running down on the apron right now as we're working lap number 48. Miller looking to the high side in the in the turn 1, I should say, once again. And it seems like it's only getting harder and harder for Miller as once again trying to look to the outside once more. Kind of a situation we saw at Kentucky Speedway earlier in the season, but the driver holding the bottom is playing very good defense, forcing the other driver to run a longer line. And even with tire wear, it seems like it's been enough so far for him to hold on. But the track is getting hotter, and of course, if it does go green the whole way, they are going to have to worry a bit more about tire wear than they have on the previous stint. So we'll see what happens there.
Coming to 25 to go as we've gone through this race really, really quickly.
Been a torrid pace, definitely.
Justin Miller got right up on that wall there. Looks like he's trying to get a run down the banking.
Oh, Miller trying to pinch down PDF as much as he can. I think he's realizing what is happening right now. PDF just running that very consistent defensive line there. He's going to have to become more and more and more aggressive as this run goes on. And once again, here comes the run down the back straightaway. Once again, looking at the outside, PDF forces the line up there. Lets a little bit of room there, but it was just at the point where Miller really had no choice but to go up to the high line.
Now remember that the apron's inbounds on the front stretch, below the dotted line on the back stretch is also inbound. So who is willing to go down there and use it?
The problem there is, of course, the apron in turns 1 and 2, and the apron going into 1 is a lot easier to work with than going into 3, because you go from a point where you get yourself back up there through a curved section of the track to down a straightaway, and then if you don't get yourself up there before, whoops, you have no banking. You have no way to counter the centrifugal forces, and you can't really carry the speed, and therefore you'll lose the position in any case, no matter what you do.
Let's check out this battle for third. Elliot Huffman looking low on excuse me, and he is looking to pull this pass off to work up into possibly a bottom step position.
Huffman on a tear right now from 19th to 4th in this race. Ragon, though, holding that top side very well there. He gets the run down the back straightaway from the draft.
Yeah, as these tires wear off, the worn set of tires on the low side is not the fastest way.
Especially with cars in front of you like we're seeing, because they got drafted in the form of both PDF and Justin Miller, who don't really have that problem to deal with. Miller now once again up on the high side going into 3. He got the run on the back straightaway. The question I always have here is, can he carry the momentum on exit and claw himself back up alongside PDF well before the entry to 1? Because that seems to be the main shot he's got at actually being able to make the pass work from a pass on the high side. And we're gone. I'm seeing back there again playing the PDF line, actually kind of breaking the draft right there on Elliot Huffman. Going from high to low to high once more. But Huffman now side by side. He gets himself up to P3. Elliot Huffman on the charge. Ragon once again looking to the high side to try and get back at him, though. Ragon not quite there yet. Can he get the run on exit? Huffman comes right back up to the high side. Ragon going back down low. This battle isn't letting up in the slightest. But Ragon will lead in that battle. Situation at the front, still holding about the same as it has been. So it's PDF, Miller, Ragon, Huffman, Murphy, your top 5, and once again, Ragon holds off a charge there by Huffman.
Oh, Justin Miller, I thought I was going to get a look on the low side going in the 3.
Caution is out. Caution is out.
Eric Troiano. Looks like something happened with him. Let's go back in the Wayback Machine, take a look at what happened, and it's just a lazy spin off of 2.
Single car incident for Eric Troiano. Not something I expected to see here at Kansas. But just a lazy little spin.
Right in front of Trace Shadid. Yeah, right in front of Trace Shadid. We'll actually rewind this a little bit and see from Shadid's point of view. As we can find his car real quick. There it is.
That's always a scary moment to see a car spinning in front of you. Thankfully for Shadid, he saw him going down low, like he had a gap to work with. So Shadid comfortably clearing him, but it's still always a sketchy moment as the leaders once again coming on the pit road.
Everybody down pit road. I'm surprised by this.
I am definitely surprised. I would imagine a few drivers would have stayed out with the fuel not being the biggest concern.
So the concern is tires now.
No doubt about that. They're really worried about tire wear. PDF comes into his box, locks up his tires to prevent him from overshooting. Gets down off the jacks. PDF away. Miller still holding on to the spot. Huffman in third, ahead of Ragon and Murphy. So PDF holds on to that lead. And that really is showing how concerned these guys are for the track temp getting hotter and the conditions they're have to face here tonight. Tire wear is definitely the biggest elephant in the room for them. The fact that every single car still running in the field came on the pit road on this caution, even though fuel wasn't that big an issue, that's really showing how much they're valuing it.
What chances if you were in one of these guys' shoes of you actually staying out?
That would largely depend on how the car is feeling, in my view. But the fact that everybody came in, that really is showing that that it doesn't look quite as serene as it's being shown in the cockpit right now. They're really having to work these cars and work these tires for all they're worth. So it would seem that despite it not looking like it, they're really having to worry about it. So that's my guess, is that tire wear looked like more of a concern than the outside look of it was letting on.
So we do have 2 cars up ahead of our leader. They're going to get the wave around. Let's give you an idea of who those are. One is Stephen Lee and Matthew Mercer. So they will get the wave around. They are down 15 and 24 laps respectively. So they've just recently made their final stop. So there's really nothing in it for them to make another stop again. They might even be on their third and final set of tires. So they're going to get the wave around here momentarily. So while we got a break, we do have the schedule for next season right here with us. We will see you all in about 2 weeks as we kick off our 1-year anniversary covering the Monday night Indy Fixed Top Split, and it will be at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. That will be in 2 weeks. That's week 1. Here, a bunch of cars trying to burn off excess fuel there. Week 2, Legacy, Kentucky. Week 3, the new improper version of Phoenix. Week 4, the newer improper version of Texas Motor Speedway before they redesign that one more time. Week 5 is the proper version of Auto Club Speedway before they finally bulldoze that into a short track that's not needed. Week 6, here's a short track that is needed, Richmond. Week 7 is our only road course at Road America. Week 8 is the Oval at Charlotte. Week 9 is a Death Week, Talladega. 45 laps at Talladega. Week 10, Nashville. And that's the super speedway, of course. Week 11, the Oval Indianapolis, and Week 12, the Legacy 2008 Oval for Atlanta Motor Speedway. So they're not going to use a new oval for Atlanta yet. The good news is we will have a night race at Phoenix, we will have a night race at Auto Club, and we will have a night race at Nashville. So the chance for seeing pack racing at Auto Club is a much better chance now with a night race.
That'll always be exciting to see. Night racing always, it looks good both visually and it looks good for the racing itself. That's a lot to look forward to next season. But now we've got a championship to decide. PDF jumps on the throttle, green flag flying. Let's settle this. Miller falling back a little bit there, but of course he's going to have the draft going into 3 and 4 at the end of it. Huffman, though, in P3, he's going to have to hold off for Gahn and Murphy. And Murphy's now side by side with Raporti for 5th.
Wow. There was actually a shot there for Justin to get underneath Pablo Diaz. Pablo swung out wide.
PDF still holding that bottom line for dear life. Miller trying to get every inch of the racetrack he can to close up and try and force the issue on PDF. Looks to the outside, very close stuff here into 3. Miller still trying to stick his nose to the outside, doesn't quite hold the momentum.
He's definitely not giving him as much room, though, and now he's side by side going through the tri-oval area with PDF on the apron, Justin Miller on the racetrack.
This is something that I get the feeling that, especially on the fresh tires, helping the case of both these drivers, Miller is just going to get more and more and more aggressive. He's going to have to find some way, any way, to get Francis to run the line he doesn't want to run and get himself up to the lead. But meanwhile, I'm looking at Huffman and Vergon battling it out for P3. They're not done with this battle either. Actually, Huffman had a bit of a scary moment there off of 2, trying to hold off Vergon.
Oh, they are getting. Pablo is really trying to make his car as wide as possible. Yeah, and if they don't watch out, here comes Elliott Huffman.
That is close stuff. Miller trying everything he can, looking to the outside once more. There's no doubt about it. Both these guys have turned the aggression meter up that little bit more. But now I'm looking at Huffman and Vergon battling it out for P3. Vergon's got himself up around Elliott Huffman, and he's going to drive Mark Murphy with him. Murphy getting himself back up another spot, just what he needs for the championship hunt. Miller, though, battling one of the other championship rivals, of course. PDF has basically dominated this race ever since that contact with our pole sitter Rodrigo Franzoni and taking him out on lap 1. Miller, though, has been dogging him all the way.
Here's Vergon.
Vergon right up on his gearbox right now. This battle is not over in the slightest. This can go any way. Miller way down on the apron there.
Taking a look at the inside.
Had a peek there. You got to be very careful with how you do that, though. I can see Miller, though. He's going to be trying that for sure. Vergon now all the way on the apron, following PDF. Ooh, very close. His rear wing almost touching the rear attenuator of Justin Miller, but it'll open up the door for Huffman up to P3.
It's going to be a
Huffman
game of
gets the move.
It's going to be a game of limbo on the backstretch. How low can you go?
How low can you go, indeed? PDF.
2 more cars under the fray. We have Sean Dunham and Brian Spots now, top 7 altogether.
This pack is not broken up in the slightest right now.
5
Miller
laps to go.
working that high line again.
Miller sticking it on the high side.
Side by side, he's got a nose down the back straightaway, and he clears it.
He clears
Justin
him.
Miller.
What a pass.
Justin Miller making it work around the outside. Beautifully done by the number 21.
And
he will take the lead with 4 to go.
And he had to make PDF check up, and now that drops PDF into Huffman's clutches now.
Huffman now right on the gearbox of PDF. Huffman running way up high on exit. That'll open the door for Ragon to make a move down the backstretch. And now PDF finds himself in the position that Miller was before.
Yeah, PDF
There'll be 3 to go this time.
PDF, look at him trying to get that wing on that right rear.
Look at him trying. He's going to have good momentum, though. He's got momentum going into 1. Can he make a repeat of it? Miller led across the line that time by 2/100ths of a second. He's got to hold that bottom of the track for all he's worth. Forces Francis way up high. Ragon, take a look at the
Ragon! Ragon, that was not called for.
Uncalled for stub. Horrific accident. Justin Miller out of the race. Same with Ragon. PDF, he will win this race. And not the way that he expected to either. No doubt this has championship implications, but a lot of controversy all the same.
What was Ragon thinking?
I mean, I know I was saying before that these guys were going to have to be aggressive, but there's a fine line between being aggressive and being reckless.
We're watching that back again.
Having a look at this once more as everyone lines up behind the pace car.
I don't want to get too... From the point of view that we saw, it was not a very good point of view for Ragon. But as we watch the replay...
Oh, yeah.
Miller left the inside open, and he tries to come down, but Ragon had a run.
Yeah, he did kind of chop him there.
I'm going to have to guess, though, you got to expect that if the inside is open. And that's it.
Miller did leave that gap open, and he closed it at the last possible second.
I don't know. You got to kind of use your head there, too. And it's a last lap moment. And, yeah.
Unbelievable stuff. But I can definitely see why Ragon would be pissed at that because Justin Miller, there was a gap there and he changed the line pretty quickly. It looked like it looked from the outsider's perspective for a bit of mirror driving and maybe a bit of panic when he saw how quick a run Ragon was getting.
The door was open.
Both of them out of the race.
The door was open a little bit, and with 2 laps to go, Ragon showed his aggressiveness and went ahead and sent it. But wow, it's going to change the outcome. PDF is going to get the win. Elliot Huffman's going to get a very and we've never really seen him in the top split races. So I don't want to say improbable P2, but up 17 spots. So a very a workman-like day for him just to get to there. And Mark Murphy does everything he has to do and gets on the bottom step of the podium. And now time will just tell how this championship is going to shake out. As in the locker room, I don't know exactly what Pinero's lead is, but it is not very big right now.
A lot has changed just in this one race. Pinero wrecked out on lap 1. Titanic battling all race long, and the fate of this race could have gone in any which direction, but it is going to be PDF winning the night. These are big points he needs for the championship battle, and the same with Murphy. So I get the feeling this is a compelling first shot for how well this first week of racing, for all this final week of racing is going to be for season 3 of Indy Fixed Top Split.
And for some reason, Porty's out there to do donuts. Not sure why. We got another car out there that's going to do a victory lap and do some donuts. Okay, all right.
Seems like this was a little bit of a coordinated thing. I was hearing on the radio they were asking if everyone was going to be doing donuts. And it seems like quite a few of them are going to be celebrating the end of the
season.
The end of the season. Not quite the end of the season quite yet, of course. But nonetheless, this season has certainly been compelling as I'm seeing Cesar Cabral doing donuts on the front stretch after finishing 13th.
And your final classifications for the final race of the Monday night Indy Fixed Top Split for Season 3 of 22. Here it is, Pablo Diaz-Francis with the win. Elliott Huffman with a great climb to P2. Mark Murphy does everything he needs to do to try to get this Division I championship for himself, to secure it. He is on the bottom step of the podium. We'll surely be talking with him here in a little bit. Sean Dunham P4, Brian Spots P5. For Porty, Shadid Moreira Geisler with a good quiet run up to the top 10. He finishes 9th. Troiano 10th. Matt Houston, the boss man, 11th. Erwin Cabral, David and Justin Miller round out your top 15. Justin Miller was in a position for that win until that last lap or that last caution cost him, which would have been his first win of the Monday Night Indy fixed season. 16th, Rigon, 17th, Powers, 18th, Lee, 19th, Mercer, 20th, Nacho La Rosa, and rounding out the remainder of your 23-car field, Russell, Franzoni, and the key one here, Adriano Pinero.
Heartbreak there for Pinero, but the gauntlet has been thrown down for the week. We'll see if anyone has anything to say about it. Popping in for interviews. I'm not seeing anyone quite yet. But I'm seeing Mark Murphy and his teammate Trey Shadid doing a Polish victory lap around the outside, around the track here. We'll see what... We've talked to Murphy quite a bit. I'm sure he'll have a few things to say about the whole race in general. Brings it down to the start-finish line. Open up the motors and doing some donuts right now. Trey Shadid starting it.
And there's your team photo moment.
Very good team dynamic these two seem to have been having all season long. Mark Murphy and Trey Shadid. They have been doing remarkable stuff this season, getting themselves in the championship hunt.
And we'll give a couple more minutes, see if anyone wants to pop in for an interview here. Maybe Murphy is focused to go to that 10:15 race that's going to start here in about an hour and 5 minutes to try. Oh, there he is. He just popped into the interview room. Let's bring him on up and see what he has to say. Hey, Mark, we saw you. Thanks for stopping in for the interview. Congratulations on the P3. Man, you did everything you had to do today. Is it going to be enough? And do you think that you'll be making some other stabs at it during the week?
No, I mean, Gary, I looked at looking at the points. I mean, my drop was 190. We get 230 for this one. I don't think we're going to see another 4,300 split, basically, and that would put me, golly, that would put me 50 ahead of Adriano. I don't see how there's going to be another race that's going to pay
Right.
Yeah, there's going to be another race that's going to pay 220 to win. Usually the second split gets right at 200. So you never know for sure, but looks good so far. And then you don't know about Pablo either. I mean,
right.
I mean, who knows what his drop is? I mean, he seemed to think that he couldn't catch me, but I don't know.
From the race, from your point of view, of course, that had that incident on lap 1 with Adriano, which kind of opened the door for a big night for you. After you saw that, is it pretty much? What was your line of thinking there? Go for it, or let's just, now that the chief guy's gone and I'm going to get a 10 plus point or a 10 plus position victory over the guy, is just get the best finish possible. Was it go for it, or just try to settle in and get the best finish possible?
Yeah, I mean, it was take care of the car. I mean, I let Rigon and Huffman go just because I didn't want to put myself in a position where, it was possible to get wrecked.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that I had to finish. I knew that I had to finish in the top. I knew that I had to finish in the top 5 to improve in points. So, I mean, coming in and it's plus 12, and that Adriano Pinheiro is the he's. I mean, let's make no bones about it. Him and Pablo are the two fastest fixed drivers on the planet, and he's going to be up front, and he's going to qualify up front, and you just once I saw that happen, I knew I had a chance, but I knew I still had to score.
Right.
I mean, I knew I needed a top 5, and a podium would be perfect. And like I said, I mean, it was just, I saw that happen, and it was just take care of the car. I got nervous a couple of times because poor Regan was glitching out, and he glitched out right next to me a couple of times, and his car actually went. I saw it go over the top of mine, and I was like, "Oh no, let's not come this far and get net coded out." But
well, I would imagine that next to last caution probably came out at a good time for you then, because it looked like you might have been struggling with tires on that long run.
The wear was even, but the percentages of wear were bad. Yeah, I mean, the right front was going pretty good, but I wasn't really racing hard. I was just racing hard enough to stay ahead of Sean, and I was going to let them other guys go. You know what I mean? I mean, I knew if I improved a little bit, it was going to be pretty hard for Adriano to score enough points. So it was just all about, I was just trying to maintain that top 5 spot, and that second to last caution came out. You're right. I mean, we debated coming down pit road, and thought, no, it's not a good idea. And, we thought about staying out, and then, Trace is the brains behind this operation. And he said, come, and that was the right call. Obviously, I mean, yeah, being out front, clean air would have been great. But the second somebody got next to you or in front of you, you'd have been 20th. So pit air was the right call, and it made the car a lot more comfortable. It wasn't nearly as twitchy on the nose going in the corner. And I don't know if Steven experienced it, but you got long enough, and you could almost feel like the nose hunting up and down the track if it hit the air wrong. So that was interesting. I haven't had that happen before.
Yeah, it's definitely something that I want to consider if I'm going to be racing it this week for sure. But
yeah, I mean, 20 to laps 20 to 30 were pretty fun on tires.
Yeah, and one thing I've of course made note of throughout the season is your partnership with Trace Shadid, which has seemed to be doing very well. You two seem to work very well with each other. I'm guessing the partnership will be renewed for next season, but how would you yourself describe your team's dynamic right now? Because it seems to be looking pretty good from our perspective.
Yeah, I mean, it's just two guys about the same age that are having a lot of fun together, and we think the same, and we both race about the same. I mean, some places he's quicker, and some places I'm quicker, and we both like the car about the same. We both like to feel the same thing. We both feel like, I feel like he and I, the car speaks to us in the same way, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can go run 100 laps somewhere and come back and say, hey, Trace, do this, and he'll be instantly quick. And by the same time, he can go run 100 laps someplace and say, hey, Mark, do this, and I'm instantly quick. And we may not have the qualifying speed all the time, and I'll be the first to tell you, Steven and Gary, I don't know all the tricks of the trade and getting that last 10th. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what those special ingredients are, but we just try to make it the best we can for the race and let the chips fall.
Indeed, and it seems to be doing more than I think you thought. Getting yourself up to second place in Division 1 championship, that's no small feat, I would say, especially as you said before, racing against drivers that you definitely respect as being faster than you.
No, I mean, every time Pablo and Adriano show up, that they're going to be the top two, and Rodrigo is going to be quick, and you know that when Nacho's in the field, he's going to be fast, and you know that some of these other guys. I mean, look at this lineup tonight was stacked. I mean, Huffman Huffman is quick. Sean Dunham is fast. Brian Spots, he's a rocket. you know, Giesler's fast, Troiano's fast, Matt Houston's fast. I mean, we're talking about guys that we're talking about guys that are all 4,000 I rating or more, and they're just all fast and they're smart and they don't make mistakes usually. And you just have to. I guess we just try to make fewer mistakes than they do, because we don't have, again, we don't have the outright pace a lot of the time, but you just try to be smarter.
Well, we're just missing one thing though. We need to get Trace in here sometime. So we need to get Trace on the podium so we can get him in here to hear him, because obviously he sounds like he was a major player to your performance today and your performance all season long. Whether you end up being the Division I championship or runner-up in the Division I championship, either way, not a bad season. I'm sure that you got a lot of people you'd like to thank, so the microphone is all yours. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I mean, my mom and dad they're actually sitting in the Chicago airport, delayed, getting on an airplane to Israel, and it's a long awaited trip for them. And so I know they're sitting there. My mom and my stepdad and my dad and my stepmom, they're all sitting around, probably huddled around one phone watching this. The weather up here in Chicagoland and Mishawaka and South Bend has been awful. So if they're still sitting there watching, hi to them. And I think we did it. You never know till tomorrow morning, but I think we did it. I have to thank Black Magic Designs. Those guys, they support me not only here, but in the truck series when I decide to race with a roof over my head. I'm still learning that game. It's kind of humbling sometimes, but still learning that game. And so, I can't say enough about them. I just can't say enough about it. You call a guy up and you say, hey, I want the plucked chicken ready to run for Indianapolis, and Indianapolis is in 3 days, and it's done. And those guys, the support they give are just unreal. And I have to thank Adriano and Pablo and Chris. And I mean, those guys are, when you talk about those three guys, those are the elite. Those are the best of the best of fixed IndyCar racers, and to even be mentioned in the same breath as them is incredibly humbling. And so I want to thank them for I mean, for a lot of stuff. I mean, Adriano Pinheiro, the first time I ran an Indy 500, Adriano Pinheiro saw I was struggling and took me out and said, follow me. He's a competitor, but he's an amazing guy. Pablo was encouraging, giving some encouraging words during that race too. And I think he's going to come up 6 points short, but I'm looking at it now. But he's a funny guy too. And Chris is pretty
Chris
awesome.
Wilhite, yeah,
he's believe it or not, I blame him for my speed at Gateway. I was in a league race with him, and I followed Wilhite around Gateway for about 2.5 hours. So I blame him for Gateway. And then Trace, of course, you can't even begin to compete in this game without a teammate and a friend.
No,
and
right.
Somebody to bounce stuff off of, and without him, we're not here. And then lastly, Stephen and Gary, thank you for putting the show on. I mean, it's you can't say enough about how good of a job you guys do and how awesome it is to watch these races back. And you guys just do an amazing job, and I so very much appreciate everything that you do.
Well, we appreciate that, and it's always fun. And when we start here in 2 weeks, it'll be our 1-year anniversary doing this, and we've seen a lot of visibility of the fixed series pick up here. It's of course all the thanks to you guys and your fans and your followers all becoming subscribers and everything. So thanks a lot. We do have the points. I'll bring them up on the screen here. I just got the sniping or the snipping tool, excuse me, from Windows here. We do show you with 1691 to 1685 lead over PDF. Adriano Pinero with a 1641, so he is 50 points to your rear at the moment. As we like to say, everyone's going into the clubhouse at the moment, although we know we realize there's people that still have to complete their round, so to speak, later this week. Of course, Chris Wellhite will probably run. Jesper Orman will run. Cameron will probably run. Aaron McQuarrie as well. Jowl, we've seen him run later in the week. And of course, several of these guys might even race another race or 2 or 3 dozen, if you're the case of PDF or Pinero, during this week to try to improve that number. But that is how we're going into the locker room or into the clubhouse at the end of conclusion of this season, or at least the coverage here on Raceverse, with a 1691 to a 1685 lead over PDF, currently showing you the leader at the moment, Mark. So fingers crossed, all things considered, congratulations. One way or another, you had a great season, and your performance here will definitely echo that. So thank you very much, and I know we'll be talking again soon, and I know we'll be seeing you in future races and probably some other races as well. So congratulations, and well done.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Steve and Gary, y'all have a good night. You hear?
We will. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, bud.
Sir.
All right. Well, that does it. We conclude yet another season here of the Monday Night Indy Fixed Top Split, and this was an exciting one that we came down to the wire. The last couple ones necessarily haven't been that exciting, but this was there was battles for the first 3 or 4 positions. In the final standings, not just per race, but in the final standings all season long here in the Fixed Series. If you're thinking about joining up on the Fixed Series, this is definitely a place to look as a stepping stone to bettering your oval skills in the IndyCar, and maybe go on to something else or just make a home here.
Indeed, and if this season is any indicator of what we're going to expect, because this, you said it yourself, Gary, this has been a very exciting season, and we've had a lot to talk about. I can't imagine what next season is going to bring, because I get the feeling that next season is going to be bigger and better than ever, especially with a few tracks that we're all familiar with and a few tracks where a lot of things can happen. I'm looking at a certain track in Alabama for that latter statement particularly. But next season, I think, is liable to be as good, if not better, than what we saw this season. And this season was already pretty fun. And it's going to go to show that even if it doesn't quite have the reputation that leagues such as Lionheart or the Formula Indy Series that we'll cover tomorrow night, it may not be quite that, but it's exciting in its own right. It's hard to go wrong with IndyCar competition on the iRacing service, and this series definitely shows it. You can pop in at any time within a 2-hour time frame on the 15s, and you can have yourself a fantastic race like what we saw here tonight at Kansas and all throughout this season. So if you like what you saw, there's definitely going to be more of it where that came from in the next 2 weeks.
One more time, I want to thank 4D RACEWEAR for their support all season long. They will not be rejoining us again next season, but they have been a big help and brought some visibility to us, so we want to thank them very much. Of course, 4D are the makers of ultimate gear and apparel designed specifically for sim racing, gloves, shoes, you name it. Check them out today at 4dracewear.com or click on the link in today's stream description, and if you use this coupon code, which will be the final one of the season right here, MNF10 Kansas. NMF10 Kansas here. There we go. We'll give you 10% off your next purchase if you purchase sometime here in the next week, and that will do you for the next week. This coupon code is good for. So that's it for the night. Once again, your podium for Kansas here And man, it was a great race. Not just the championship here, but the podium in general. Pablo Diaz-Francis gets the win by final caution there. Elliot Huffman, and we got to see more of this guy. He made a fantastic drive. If you're watching, personal call out to see you more next season, all the way from 17th to 2nd. And Mark Murphy does everything he needs to do to go into the clubhouse, so to speak, as your leader of the Division I championship going into the final week of the season. Join Steven and myself again in 2 weeks for race 1 of the Monday Night Indy Fix, or round 1, the Monday Night Indy Fix top split of season 4 of 22, coming to you from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. This will mark our 1-year anniversary of covering the iRacing official Indy Fix top series, official Indy Fix Series Monday's top split. So coverage, as always, begins around 8:15 Eastern Time. That's 8:15 p.m. Eastern, and you can find everything right here on YouTube at youtube.com/racefirst. Hey, we love bringing these races to you, but they're not easy and they require time and money to produce. Because of your generosity and donations, we've been able to bring you the last 3 seasons for virtually no commercial breaks. If you share our passion for the sport of IndyCar and have enjoyed our coverage of the Monday Night Indy Fix Top Split, please take time to visit our GoFundMe page. The link is in the description, and donate to our Season 3 22 Monday Night Fixed Indy Top Split Broadcast Fund. We realize times are tough and any contribution will be appreciated. We thank you for watching and making us part of your Monday nights each and every week, and we'll be setting up hopefully a Season 4 22 broadcast fund here relatively soon. So please donate. That is the main method of making sure that we are compensated for our time bringing this to you every week. Now, as you know, the YouTube algorithm game is not easy, so please help support Race First with the weekly grind. Leave a comment below and let us know what you thought of tonight's race. And if you enjoyed tonight's coverage, support us by smashing like in the video. And like I said last week, that's the best medicine I can have all week with my voice, is you give me likes and subscriptions. And that's right. If you're new, click subscribe and while you hit the bell for weekly reminders so don't miss out more of Race First other iRacing programming, including the Race First Formula Indy Series, the Revolution Indy League Schaefer IndyCar Series on Wednesdays, the Stock Carnival de Brazil on Thursdays, and the IndyCar iRacing Series on Fridays when NTT IndyCar Series races that weekend. Keep your browsers set here for the most in-depth IndyCar knowledge of all of iRacing. Race First, we know what Indy means. So for Stephen Larkamp, everyone at Race First, I'm Gary Gotson saying all good night and thanks for watching. And to all our men and women serving in the military and as first responders, Godspeed, God bless, and come home safe. Thanks again, and catch us again in 2 weeks for our 1-year anniversary at Las Vegas to kick off Season 4 of 2022 of the Monday Night Indy Fix Top Split. Good night.